Well, let's see if we can find something useful.
Hello, folks! Welcome back for an episode of our journeys. And we are joining Broda Azura against very scary Gary.
This might be
I'm not sure if we have to roll the R's when it's double R's, or if it should just be one, in which case it does make me wonder if there's actually a very scary Gary with one R. You know what? We have the power. Okay, I want to make sure I haven't missed any friend requests. So we're going to see very scary Gary. Oh, Gary. Okay, so there you go. It's mystery solved. The reason why we have a very scary Gary with two R's is because, in theory, there was a very scary Gary with one R who got to the name first. So two guys named Gary who are, in fact, very scary, and they would like you to know that they are very scary. But one of them is the OG, and one of them, I mean, you know, it's a Sith thing maybe. Unless, you know what? Let's see this. Let's take a gander at this, folks. Is there a very, very scary Gary? There is not. How about a very scary Gary? Okay, so apparently the Garys, the very scary Garys, are like the Sith. There's a master and an apprentice. So we are dealing with the apprentice here, the second Gary, the one with two R's. And he is getting, well, authoritatively thwacked by our friend Broda. Having a much better go of what we did. We encountered him, or we got to see some of his games. I can't remember if it was. I think it was during Live at 5 because some folks had some opinions about it, but definitely had a rougher go of it. A lot of folks did, and I don't know why I'm talking about that on Wednesday's video when we had a Monday's video. But Monday's video, as you can tell, I mean, I looked like I just barely got out of bed, and that wasn't entirely inaccurate. If you thought that, if you looked at me and went, he looks really tired, looks like he just kind of flopped out of bed and crawled in front of the camera, you weren't way off of the truth. Today is much, much better. Doesn't mean that I am going to be of 100% sound mind, but I am in a much better place. I am, you know, there are times where you sit down and you go, I just got to get through this. And there are times where you're going, hey, I'm going to have fun with this today. And I'm up for having one of those fun times. So here we go. Broda is going to finish off with a 6-cost lightning bolto against very scary Gary. One of two. Always two there are. One master, one apprentice. Get you. Thank you very much. I think is perhaps what we were seeing there. Okay. Let's see. We got. Why? Oh, Death Row. Okay, it's not playing though. All right. So looks like we lost him for a moment there. I was going to give him a good game, but we'll have to grab him when he comes back in. Ooh, okay, so we're joining Thiago the blacksmith. And I would say he's in a tough spot because when we joined him, he was based on his opponent, but I think that's 12, 13, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so he's currently, Thiago is out of harm's way as things stand on the board at the moment. Okay. Bails out his Black Marsh Warden and says yoink to everything else. And, I mean, he is now 7 away from being tied with Nazara, which, unfortunately for him, that isn't going to matter. Close only counts on horseshoes and hand grenades because Nazara, this card only procs if you are ahead in life or ahead in health, I guess we'll call it that. saying that you're ahead in life sounds like a judgment. It's like, are you ahead in life? Well, I'm unemployed. And, yeah, I'm unemployed, I'm single, so no, I'm not ahead in life. I would say I'm not doing so great. But Nazara is playing some cards that you very rarely see. Obviously, this fellow right here. Blackworm Necromancer, not her? Really? No, you never see her. But the Rallying Stormcloak, what was she called? inspiring. So inspiring, those are rallying without rallies because they came out before that. They look like they're running kind of funny, don't they? You know, you're not supposed to run with scissors, let alone a sword. Although, you know, that brings to mind that epic scene, or not the epic scene, but the penultimate scene, the final scene, a battle scene of Lord of the Rings where everybody's running with a sword. So I guess you can run with a sword. I would just say it's probably not a great idea to be running while you're unsheathing a sword. It looks okay for the card art, I suppose. But in practicality, I think that's kind of a lot of things can go awry. When you're bumping up and down, you're trying to get the point out and do all this stuff. I think it's a good idea to get the sword out, be holding it in a certain fashion, probably out to the side so that if something does go awry, you're only poking the ground or whatever, or poking behind you or whatever. Okay. I had that backwards. You know what I'm saying. But who knows? Any sword fighting experts out there, you may say, no, it is better to unsheath right as you're approaching, as you are running, because it reduces risk and possibility of harming yourself. But yeah, we've just seen this match swing huge for Thiago. Now, it did come on the back, come on the shoulders of New Era. But, I mean, many of us have said, if it's a one-of, there you go, you know, a one-of legendary, maybe it should cost a little bit more, but usually it's a one-of. So we've only seen one, so I am just assuming that Thiago only runs one copy of it because he believes in true justice, and if the game isn't going to restrict him, he'll restrict himself. That's my cherished belief, and darn you if you're going to pry that away from me. But yeah, I mean, so again, Thiago was in a tough spot, but 2 amulets on the board. I think it was Sly Boog. Or Sly Boogie. I can't remember which one is his YouTube name and which one of his screen name. But I believe when he was playing Telvanni as I believe is his main go-to. You know, he kind of made the statement, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's kind of true. It's like once you have 2 amulets down, you have to be in a really bad spot to not be able to recover from that. 2 amulets is a pretty big deal, especially if you're running a deck like this that is designed to, you know, you get your conscriptions and things where it's designed to put cards on the board and for them to be sacrificed for the greater good of the game. So we'll give Thiago we would like to give Thiago, there we go. GG. Letting you play as of, you know, the last time, a lot of the times we saw folks lose, they didn't really have much of a chance. You know, a snowball's chance in hell is what they say. And so it's good to see. I mean, obviously I'm biased. You know, I'm rooting for my friends, so we're rooting for ZenSky here as opposed to Uzgungun. Oh, well. And anybody who knows me and anybody who's familiar with Live at 5 or anything would know, anybody who is alluding to a creature found in the prequels is no friend of mine. I'm kidding. He may very well be a very nice gentleman. But friends don't let friends prequel. That's all I'm going to say. And I know nobody I know would have a problem with me saying that. But anyway, so we root for who we root for. That said, you know, most of the time you would like to see a good game. I do know, I remember talking about back when I used to watch sports. I'm talking about a football game, and I stopped being a fan of a particular team when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, when my dream of playing for one of those teams kind of died off. I just don't let me play on Friday, right? So yeah, which is unfortunate because that's when we're typically able to watch more games. But yeah, Thiago, just stating what seems to be an inalienable, unassailable fact that the game just doesn't let him play on Fridays. And so far, the data is showing that, as ridiculous as it sounds, it is showing that to be true. But you know, but anyway, that's if you're not like a diehard fan of the team, you want to see a good game. If you are a diehard fan, you want to win no matter what. You don't care if it's a blowout, as long as you win. In fact, you'd prefer not to have it be a close game because you don't want to be like, you know, on pins and needles the entire time. So I don't know what that makes me, because I do want to see a good game every single time. I want to see our Misa, your poop stone. Misa. See, there you go. That is, man, folks. Man, PSA. Run Poopstone. Give it a chance to give your creature card. Because, and I say this with a lot of animus and seething with loathing, Mundus does give you charge a lot. As we saw, I believe it was Monday's game. Siege Crawler. Charge. It may have been as a product of the keyword that the gate was giving, but Poopstone does it too. It gives Odaving lethal to wipe out an entire board. It gives big old bodies like a 15/15 Siege Crawler a charge. That is a thing that Poopstone does. So, as a friendly reminder to anybody running it, give it a chance to give your card charge, because it may very well do that. It likes to do that, because charge is a pretty big deal. So what would you, just out of curiosity, a mental exercise, what would you put the cost of a Galen? I really wish we could I want to get an official weigh-in, because I always call it Galen, but that would be Gayln. So I believe it's Galen or Galen because of the way it's spelled, but I don't like how that's pronounced. So there's a part of me, there's the proper part of me that says you're doing it the right way, or in the vicinity of rightness, and then part of me is saying, how can it be so right when it sounds so wrong? But I ask you this about the oddly skin-toned, silvery-looking bald man. What would you put his cost at as a guy who can put, was it +3 or +4? +3 of any card, any weapon, any card, can put 3 copies of a +3 of that card in your deck. See, there you go. Dang! Folks, you see here, I am amazing. I just gave Gungan a tip. He didn't know that I gave him a tip, but I gave him a tip, and he was able to, that time, play land. It had nothing to do with him realizing the mistake and making sure he didn't make that mistake again. It had everything to do with my subtle advice. But what would you put that cost? A card that can do that, and it's a 3 body and can charge. Would that cost 3, do you think? No, right? That probably should cost at least 5 or 6. It's Vincenzo's girl. Do 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 do. I wish I had Vincenzo's girl. Do 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 do. Why can't I have a woman like that? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I just threw up in my throat a little bit. Even though I was joking, even though I was totally joking, the idea of having to get anywhere near that thing creeps me the heck out. So ZenSky, running short on cards here, hasn't really got his opponent down quite as much, and here's where, as I've indicated before, the poop zone really comes in handy when you've got the amount of cards and the amount of magic that Gungan has, and that poop zone is in the deck. You have a decided heavy advantage against your opponent. Even if ZenSky had a full hand and had a decent board, you still have an advantage, because now every single card you've got is coming down.
I will end you.
I mean, come on, folks. Come on now. Can we get an acquiescence that Poopstone isn't just crappy if you play it on turn 4? The Poopstone just really, I mean, what would you put the cost of a 10/10 Odaving dragon that can do 4 damage to every single creature on the board, provided they don't have a ward, and also can charge? Would that be a 12 cost creature, do you think? Would it be a 15 cost creature? Because if you were to add the cost of Mundus Poopstone, sorry, I don't want to call it by its real name. If you add the cost of Poopstone onto the cost of Odaving, I still think a 10/10 charge with that effect would be overpriced. The only thing is you couldn't get to it without ramping on magic. Okay, so the only saving grace there, minor, is that even though the doppelganger got charged, the Odaving that came from the doppelganger didn't get charged. Wow. Wow. I'm going to use a phrase that my friends and I kind of joked about, but I think it's unfortunately very appropriate here for ZenSky. Oh, nope, ZenSky is gone. Man, boy, people do not stick around after some of these games, even when they win. Yeah, just only... Yep. Wow, yeah, that's brutal. All right, A-Ross, let's go. But I mean, jeez Louise. Like, there's the value. But anyway, I didn't come here to diss on Poopstone. I was hoping not to ever see it played again. But I think that was a nice display of an average game with Poopstone in play. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4 charges? 2 of them on, well, one of them on a huge body, one of them on a decent, well, he's got a pretty decent body in terms of damage. I haven't really actually looked at it in any other way. And we can't forget the significance when you had ZenSky on the aggressive trying to whittle his opponent down, being able to get, even though she got killed, the Piercing Twilight, being able to get a drain on her and get the ability to get drain on other creatures that can then stymie. I mean, if that Odahviing came down and got drained instead of a charge, ZenSky would be equally as screwed, because now you're talking about a 20-point swing where he's down 10, his opponent's up 10. So it's a big deal. I just don't see how it's considered to be a fair and just card. I just don't get it. Now, many people could say, well, that was an outlier, but is it really? Of course, I'm insinuating not. So we're going to go ahead and give ZenSky. Sorry, man. Poopstone. Gonna poop. And charge. Lots of charging. Poop.
You fight well.
Oh crap, we missed something. Stop. You violated the law, who I do recognize the name. Just was complimented by A-Ross as playing well. And, you know, he's freaky looking a little bit, the pulsating eyes, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more with him. I don't know what it would be. No, maybe not. Maybe not. I think they could have notched. I mean, this guy, well, he's the purple. Red, for some reason, red is really where it's at. If you want to freak people out, get yourself some red eyes, like glowing red eyes. Purple is close, but it's not quite there. I'm not as intimidated by a purple-eyed living skeleton as I would be a red-eyed purple skeleton. And a no-eyed animated undead skeleton scares me not at all. I'm like, where's your red eyes? Purple eyes. Like, give yourself some effects. If you're going to be undead, you need to be scary. You just look like something that shouldn't be walking around but is. Whereas if your eyes are alight with the fires of wickedness and reanimation, then I should be afraid. Then you've put in the work to show that you're not just undead, you are actively undead. I just think you come back with no lights in your eyeballs. Like you're just kind of phoning it in. But it is kind of nice to see, well, in a manner of speaking, we don't want to see our friend A-Ross get pummeled here. Whew. But it is kind of nice to see a Skelly deck get some traction. I think that may have been what A-Ross was saying. I think he was complimenting Stop You Violated the Law for, playing a deck that's not the norm. It's not just a rehash of everything. We've got a lot of folks that play that, I wouldn't say pride themselves, but dedicate themselves. Goodness gracious me. All right, here we go. Thiago. They dedicate themselves to finding new ways to play older decks. New ways to make certain cards more relevant than others. I'm starting to get, I'm not going to lie, there's a little tinge, and maybe it's just a new, this is a bad game. I could kind of see it going that way, Thiago, but I don't know. I'm not counting you out. You're like A-Ross. I don't count you out until you played your last card and say it's a good day to die. Then I know you're done. But otherwise, you just never know. But yeah, when I see, I don't know why it is, but like I see Blood Dragon and I think, I want to play TESL. I want to play Blood Dragon. I don't know why. I don't know why, but like I want to play it just because of that. I've gotten back into the game literally just by listening to that music that plays in the menu, the music that I play like under the custom card section. That music, I love that music. I don't know why, but it just speaks to me. There were times where I've been burned out on TESL and I just literally sit there and I'm just kind of going through my collection. I'm hearing that music and I'm like, I suddenly feel the desire to play this game again. So it's a kind of a random thing. Ooh, Tullius just got face kissed into oblivion. Let's see here. So ZenSky. The poop stone giveth, the poop stone it taketh away. That deck centers around the spiders anyway. After banishing the main start, the deck gets neutered. Oof. Neutered isn't as much fun as some people make it out to be. Sage wisdom from yours truly. So let's see if Thiago can rally from this not good game. Fifth Legion, good old Ebonheart. I wish she was premium.
Not enough to watch.
I'm torn too. Like, there's a part of me that thinks I would play this game more if I had all premiums. That's it. Yep, that's what I'm going to go with. That's the reason I don't play the game, because I don't have enough premiums. I have one premium Red Dragon, Blood Dragon. That means two of them are going to come out without being premiums. And that would make me sad. My Ebonheart Oracle, she's not a premium. She's just a normal old Oracle. From Ebonheart, or of Ebonheart, or Ebonhearted. I don't know. I'm guessing that's a location.
As you wish.
Although, as some astute person pointed out, I can't remember who you are. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of astute folks who watch this channel, and part of the reason they watch it is because they are astute. Hey, pat myself on the back. Who pointed out that Ebonheart Oracle cannot be played in an Ebonheart deck. Ebonheart is blue, purple, and blue, purple, and green. Blue, purple, and red. No, sorry. Blue, purple, and purple, green, and red is the Ebonheart colors. Are the Ebonheart colors? And of course, yellow being not any of those colors, she's not allowed in there. So the Ebonheart Oracle cannot be played in an Ebonheart deck. There's something very wrong with that, folks. Something very wrong with that. I'm guessing they just created her as the card initially without thinking they were ever going to do houses. And then when they did the house, they're like, yellow just really doesn't work as part of that. Like, I wonder if there was a meeting in the halls of Dire Sparky Pants, or whoever, the Dire Wolf Sparky Pants, whoever the developer were at the time, when they came down with houses. I think that was Sparky Pants at the time. I think Dire Wolf was the original, and then it became Sparky Pants. Anyway, if they actually sat down and said, we want to do the houses, we're doing Ebonheart, but we think it makes sense as a purple, green, and purple. Wait, yes, purple, green, and red. And somebody was like, but our Ebonheart Oracle, what about her? She's in willpower. She's yellow. Oh, damn it. Are you serious? Yeah, no, look. Can we nerf her? Can we make her a purple? No, we can't. We can't do that. She is a willpower card. It's always been that way. It must remain that. Chandler Bing. Chandler Bing. I don't like to see you, but if you're going to show up at all, I'm glad you show up with my friends. I don't know what that came from. Another Chandler Bing. Well, these are just timely cards. See, this is the kind of stuff, these are the kind of draws that Thiago does not get on Fridays. Like, the heart of the cards are decidedly not with Thiago on a Friday. Now, he's still in a tough spot. He's only got 2 runes, only 2 cards for his opponent to give him. His opponent has a ton of cards. He's got an Odoving. That Odoving is not going to get charged because Poopstone is not in play. But Anasi is going to be able to take out the 9-2. Okay, chooses not to. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, see, I screwed myself. I was like, oh, she can pull charge from Odoving. Odoving didn't get charged, dude. Odoving didn't get charged. But yeah, the game is over at this point, I believe. Is that right? 15, 18, exact lethal here. So unless he's buffing, I don't know what Guylock is doing. Oh, he's just drawing, I suppose. Draw first before you play. I mean, it's exactly lethal with only two prophecies possible. And again, why people don't skip that last rune as a rule, I don't understand. I don't know if that's a flex or if that's just people aren't thinking about it, but folks, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you develop those bad habits, and when the time comes that you hit that prophecy because you didn't skip that last rune, you're going to be hurting and you're going to be kicking yourself. All right, so unfortunately, Thiago got some of the business, but he did say from the beginning it was a rough game. We came in, he didn't really have a lot of cards to work with, so his opponent was able to outvalue him with his Dargans, which is one thing that they're really good at doing. And we join Racus, NPO. Apologies to Racus. I know the hope was that I would continue playing, but I simply, at this particular moment, can't bring myself to do so. Although, as I said, just seeing the blood dragon for whatever reason made me go, I want to build a deck with blood dragon. 3 blood dragon. There's sometimes I built it with one, like even my dragon deck only has like 1 copy of blood dragon because he's really kind of hard. On a turn 5, it doesn't feel like he's really all that amazing, and I don't know why I believe that, but I think other people do as well. You don't typically see 3 blood dragons in a deck, even a dragon deck. But I kind of want to do it. Because I wanted to do a strength mid-range, where kind of like my Crusader. I had that Crusader mid-range, where it's taking a deck that is typically aggressive and kind of doing what Brother Ridge did. He took Warrior and did mid-range Warrior. Because I want to be able to play a myriad of different decks in theory, but I want to be able to include. I don't want to be limited by. All right, so Golden Saint. Unfortunately for Racus, not the premium alternate art. Guess he does not have that one, which is weird because he does. Well, no, she's not even a premium. Not even premium in the regular. Racus, what are you doing, sir? Your prestige. You've got the premium card back there, sir. You should have more than enough. Now it sounds like I'm condemning his spending practices with his soul gems. I apologize, Racus. That's not my intent. You do have premium grunts. But he is up against it. Metaphor. Hey, Metaphor, I applaud your name, sir. I applaud your name. Again, anything that I can work out as I'm speaking, and I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, you look at it initially, I'm like, meta PH, what? But Metaphor, that's some good naming right there. It's an Imperial Might and Heirloom Greatsword. Oh, okay.
Your order.
Nice. It seems to have a lot of traction here. Been doing well. Also, no alt art saint. Again, as you know, I typically don't ping people while they're playing. But if you reach out to me, I have no problem. And you're never an obligation to answer me when I ask a question, especially if you're in the middle of a game. But it doesn't hurt to ask. I'm just curious. And Divine Fervor is choice on a board like this, although that probably means Racus is going to play something else because most of you guys are in the bad habit of ignoring my sage advice and just playing whatever the heck you want. But I think we're going to have to see... I think it is going to be Divine because... Otherwise, he's going to have to squish one of his third game today with it and won all 3. All right, so Racus is on a tear. This is going to be his 4th win, barring something ridiculous. Was against Broda. He didn't take the loss well. Oh, so one of them was against Broda. Okay. Yeah, we talked about that briefly. About folks who don't necessarily handle defeat with grace. And I was talking to a friend who she'd mentioned, that she had played the game a little bit but hadn't really done much with it and just kind of wasn't a big fan of like the RNG necessarily. And she's like, I wish I could get better at it, but it's just not really my jam. And I was like, it actually gets worse the better you know the game. One, because you know how rare something is to happen. You know how ridiculous it is to be able to do X, Y, and Z on a single turn, or to find this particular card within the first 3 turns. Like, the more you know, the more frustrated you can get. But also, the more you know, typically the more you've played it, which in theory means the better you are at it, or the better you think you are at it. Well, there's number 4. Congrats. Mage doing things without supports is strange. Strange, but wonderful. Sounds like I'm doing a journal entry. Dear Diary, this episode is sponsored in small part by the legendary Remnant Discord. It is there to enable people to exchange ideas with one another, show custom cards, show their knowledge and some of their screenshots of their victories. There's a lot of great things going on in the Discord that you can be a part of. Great conversations to be had. We welcome one and all. The link is in the description below the video. Just come on and say hi. People will say hi back, and then you can explore and see what else there is going on in the TESL world, at least for the legendary Remnant. But the main sponsor of this video is Frost Breath, a shout from the brilliant mind of Beatrice. It is a 3-cost in intelligence, as we can see here. Level 1, deal 2 damage to a creature and shackle it. So reminiscent of, oh goodness gracious, Frosty Bones or Shaky Bones. You know the one I'm talking about. The 2/3 in intelligence that also does 2 damage and shackles. I believe there's also Dragon. It's been a while. I think the Frost Dragon does. It's deal. I think it's deal damage to a shackled creature. I don't know, I'm a little fuzzy for whatever reason right now on those details, but it is reminiscent of, there are some cards that do have similar effects to this, but I think this is a good start. It is a little costly for what it gives you, which is 2 damage and a shackle. For 3, it's a bit costly, but I think that's a good place to start with it. The next level up there, it's going to still cost you 3, 2 damage to a creature, shackle it, and you get to do it again. So essentially, well, so here's the thing. This, again, one of Beatrice's hallmarks of his cards is trying to give you more flexibility in how you execute them. So while you can only shackle a creature once, so doing this to a creature twice wouldn't really make sense from a shackle perspective, it allows you to deal 4 damage to a single creature if you wanted to. You can do it to one creature, do 2 damage, shackled, then you can do it to another one. In theory, that's what you would do, because if the creature is shackled, it's not a problem for you to deal with at that time. It can just sit on the board. Now, granted, it can always squish the Wimpy. It can do different, it can be enabled in different ways, so leaving it on the board is a bit of a risk, depending what deck you're playing against. But on the whole, this just allows you to damage 2 creatures and shackle them at the same time. The third version is a considerable bump up. Deal 3 damage to a creature, shackle it, and you do that 3 different times. So that is very much more akin to the Dres Tormentor, who deals 3 damage. The only thing is, the Dres Tormentor deals 3 damage to any shackled creature, as long as it is shackled after he's on the board. This is allowing you to deal that damage and shackle at the same time. So in conjunction with him, this could be crazy, but even on its own, that's pretty darn good. That's 3 shackles and 9 damage for 3. Perhaps too good, some may say, as I'm looking at it. I do like the card art. It does actually seem almost to be TESL in its appearance. At least one version of TESL. I mean, obviously we have different card art, different styles. This resembles one of the card art styles. So you can almost see it being as is. Although I don't know, is this actually is that a Skyrim or a Tamriel creature? I don't remember any big, like, we have giants, but they don't look like that. So that looks like it's from a different franchise in that regard. But in any case, good looking art. It is Frost Breath, and holding up to the tradition of what Frost does in the game currently, having it be a shackle effect makes a lot of sense. So I think the 3 cost, you don't want to make it more expensive than that for the earlier version, unless you want to make this a 4 cost. I mean, I'm just looking at this final version. You're supposed to get a lot of value out of it. I don't know. That's a lot of value. That is almost a full lane shackle, but it gives you the added benefit of being able to split the lane. So it's got a lot of flexibility in there. And it allows you to deal up to 9 damage to a single creature if you wanted to. Unless, I mean, it doesn't say it on the card. I don't know how you would say this. other than to say shackle it once shackled, or no, deal 3 damage to a creature and shackle it. Or must be able to shackle it. I don't know how you'd phrase that, but if you can't deal the 3 damage unless you can shackle it, meaning once something is shackled, you can't hit it again, unless that's a stipulation, that this is a damage card similar to some of the other shots we've seen where you can pick different targets with a shackle element as well. So I don't know if the first card needs to get a little bit of a buff so that the price of it can go up, so that the price of here, because that's one thing with shots is they don't increase in price. It's gonna, if it's 2 cost, it's a 2 cost, it's a 2 cost. I think for that effect, if we're gonna keep it to that degree, which I don't necessarily disagree with, that's a nice, robust effect to have. I don't know that doing that for less than 4 or maybe even 5 is great. It is situational to a degree. You have to have 3 creatures to be able to shackle and do that too. I think 4 maybe would be the thing. And so maybe even at a level 2, you're able to do 3 damage to a creature and do it again. Maybe you stair step it. Maybe you do 3, and the next one is 3, and then 4, and then the next one is 3, 4, 5, so that you're not getting max damage each time. Each one you're doing. It's kind of like Fingers of the Mountain. But even then, so Fingers of the Mountain, mind you, can only do 6 damage total. And it's done in a very rigid way, 1, 2, and then 3. You can't break that up any which way. You can't do 2, and then 2, and then 2. You have to do 1, 2, 3. And that's a 6 cost. And it doesn't have the shackle in there. So I think everything is great. The problem is this final version that's allowing you to do this to 3 creatures. I think it might be getting a little too much value for that 3 Magicka. And the only way to fix that would be to jack up the price. But then I think that means that you got to give that first one a little bit more. Because right now the first one is understated, I think. Shackling 1 creature, dealing damage to it for 3 and no body. That's expensive, but it works for a level 1 shout. But the scaling from that point on becomes a little bit dicey, I think. But again, could be another one. We leave it as it is and see how it plays, and we just see what kind of crazy things people can do to it, and then you make your decision. All hypothetical, of course, for anybody who's watching. This is not anything that's coming down the pipe. This is not anything that is in process or in production. But by gum, we are going to give Bethesda a plethora of options and say, hey, you don't even need really super duper creative people. You need people that have a decent brain, like mathematical brain, that can help do the balancing on the number side. But our Remnant is giving you a crap ton of very creative and brilliant ideas to work with. You just have to pick the ones that make the most sense and figure out how to put them into the game without breaking it. And it's a done deal, and you've got a resurgence of players. But anywho, that's pie in the sky, fanciful dreaming. Right now, we just look at it and go, hey, thank you, beaters, for giving us a card to look at, a card to think about, and let's jump back into those games. Mage decks without supports that do well, it's very confusing. All right, so we're hoping, as Body Bag Bees would say, justice for ZenSky, who has now changed. I can't remember if, now that you're saying it, I do have the alt art of the card. Oh, you know what? How did that happen? Oh, you know what? I figured you did. I guess you keep both copies of the card, which makes sense. So yeah, so for me, when I get, if I get an alternate art of the card and I don't have the original art in premium, I just dust the original. Not because I really am going to get anything out of the gems, but I'm never going to play unless I don't like the alternate art, which does happen. I'm not going to play that card ever again without the alternate art, and I might as well get my 60 gems or whatever out of it. Like, why not? But as we saw Racus there, and I thought that. I actually did think that. I know you don't think I thought that, but I did. Oh, he does have 12 supports. Okay, so... wow. All right.
Well fought.
Well done. All right, so ZenSky got a win. And I'm sorry, we kind of missed it because we were talking. So I'm getting a little, I'm tainting this video a little bit with my with some live streams practices, which is to talk to people and about things to the detriment of the game in play. So I do apologize that I obscured the final game-winning screen with my chat that was unrelated to the game that was in play currently. So here again, we saw Eros took a loss to a skeleton sorcerer, if I remember. Now he's up against the Mud Crab spell sword, which is really the only kind of spell sword you ever see anymore is Mud Crab or Factotum or something. Where am I going? I'm going around the world with this accent. I don't know exactly where I'm at now. But hopefully somebody out there is like, oh my gosh, my neighbor speaks just like that. How did you know? And I say, hey. And I just let it trail off into nothing and move on. Oh, I was saying something. Oh, yeah, we were talking about like the better you know the game, the more you've played it. In theory, the better you are, the more disgruntled you're likely to be about losing, because you have an expectation of winning, and especially. Okay, yep. So he is. So Racus was not running a pure just hey, this is completely different mage. It is support mage, which is the one I expected to see. We just didn't see any supports, which makes its victory all the more impressive because it's kind of a win condition. Does Eros have any wrath for him to fear? I mean, he does have unstoppable rage. Rage is not wrath, but it's pretty darn close. And he needs, let's see, 7, 9, 12. So he does have exactly, so he needs to do some stuff here. He can't do that in Hand of Dagoth, which really sucks. I think you need to put you can't put hand down. I was going to say Alfie Conjure is really the only survive and play, but it seems like it's just staving off the inevitable, really, at this point. Andrew Kogan has too many cards in his hand at this particular point, and any of them could be removal, or Halls of the Dwemer, which is GG, I believe. That's 8, 10, 13. That is GG. So Eros, we're seeing a little bit of a rough start, but Eros is a top 10 player. The card that summons 1/1, I build the deck around it. Oh, we'll take a look at what Racus said once we finish up the game here. I mean, we kind of see where it's going, but and Eros. And I say that it's not in any way to disparage Eros or to point that out. I just think it is for those, I say of us because I put myself in this category, who do struggle with the game from time to time, or often, sometimes seeing somebody who is a top-end gamer who creates really smart and innovative decks can have a bit of a rough patch. So I don't know if he's won, how many he's won or lost in between the times we've seen him play, but today he's 0 for 2. And again, that's not a diss on him whatsoever. That's just pointing out that even a really great player can have really bad games and kind of be on a downward spiral. But let's go ahead and see. All right. Divine Fervor, most importantly, Imperial Might. The card that summons a 1/1 each turn, I built the deck around it, and Greatsword. Oh, it is Heirloom Greatsword, right? That's the... Yep, okay. So we'll start off with a nice, more or less. How many Greatswords? I'm just curious, because in most of my decks, I only ever use one. Because, in theory, you're just going to be cycling it through, but I'm guessing, and it's also inexpensive. Okay, he's got 2. Okay. Dual wield. All right, so we'll check out another Racus game then. I mean, it is a little bit of a bummer that it is, but I mean, we see here. Okay, so he's got one forward can. Okay, he does have Imperial Might. That's the card he was referring to. Spits out a 1/1, and I think that's the synergy that it has with Greatsword. He's almost always, his idea, I think, is to always have a body on the board that you can throw a Greatsword on. But it's been really light on supports. And
my honor.
really light
Don't
on.
underestimate me. Face me, you dog.
On Great Prophecy, just a little too late. Could have used it.
Ominous insects. They share
He's got another one? Wow. So yeah, that was just a kind of a burn assassin, which is it's a bummer. It and I don't have any necessarily particular animus towards burn decks, but as somebody who delights in battles on the board and likes to see cards battle each other and to see that whole dynamic, burn is like the antithesis of that. It's I don't need to build a board, don't want to build a board, I just want to hit you in the face. I remember playing one of those for like a day, and I got bored with it. And it didn't win as much as I thought it would. I don't think it's an instant win condition by any stretch. However, it is a little bit on the. All right, Gabu. Let us see what you have for me. All right, 30 to 15. We are in New Era territory. Entity has enough cards, by that I mean more than one, that New Era could be lurking among them. So Gabu really has to be careful here, because this is the time with how much health his opponent has. This is one of those times where you want to pour it on thick, and normally that would behoove you to do so, but you do run the risk. But I think we're going to see Wilds Incarnate next turn, I think that's going to be the play. But you want to saturate the board. You want to get all that damage down there so you can clean this up in a couple turns. But that's usually when New Era comes out. And if you overcommit, you find yourself with nothing. And usually, Empire, after New Era on turn 12, 11, whatever, then plays Brave New World. Is that right? I mean, that's a book. That's the name of a book. What am I thinking of? I mean, I know what I'm thinking of. 6 cost, gives you 3 cards.
I will keep the
Okay. All right. Saitsahan is not as bad as it could have been, but more guards for Entity. The only good news is he's got a Steel Sword, he's got Fingers of the Mountain, and Withered Hand might be. I think Fingers into Withered Hand. Could he do? He could actually do that and the Steel Sword if he wanted to. Oh, never mind. Duh. Nicely done, Gabu. It's great to see that my deficiency when it comes to seeing lethal, it translates very well into spectating as well. Even when I don't have the pressure of playing myself, I still am thinking, oh, gotta mix it up. And that's why you see when it looks like I'm trolling somebody or I'm BMing somebody. It's literally that I didn't realize I had lethal. Sometimes until it's too late.
I'll scout ahead.
So Shinikami, kind of a cool name. Shinikami.
Most fortunate.
Oh, boy, howdy. Beowulf. Oh, man. Well. I mean, giant bats, they've been around since the dawn of time. God created the heavens and the earth and 7 bats. I believe that's the scriptural reference we're going with. Wow, lots of people doing the stuffs. All right, let's see. So we've seen Racus a couple times. Brave Carrot's watching. Danish may not be playing. Danish is not playing. Ice Baron, not playing. Io, probably not playing. Okay. Meth 06, Rick Deckard. Try Meth 06, not playing. Rick Deckard is playing. Rick Deckard, the creator, playing a Telvanni list with Mentor of the Watch, so not going to be your mother's Telvanni. That's for darn sure. We'll see how far it goes. That's a, because Dark Rebirth, it's got a really grimy looking dude with really gnarly fingernails. So I don't like playing Dark Rebirth just from a cosmetic and aesthetic point of view. I just, it doesn't matter how useful it is. It doesn't matter what it's capable of doing. I just think it's, the nails, really. There's no reason when we see that there are people in the TESL universe who have well manicured hands, I think having a card that has the guy with really nasty fingers, I don't care if you're raising undead or not, you need to keep those fingernails clean and you need to keep them pristine, and they should be functional. Like long nails, folks, I mean, there are some things that become a little bit easier if you have long nails, but for the most part, long nails are a detriment to everything you want to do. They make keyboarding harder. They make grasping a sword harder. Imagine trying to do this when you've got nails that are like that one. You have to hold it like this. This is not a way to hold a sword, you know? So you need to have short, practical fingernails, just long enough that you could, like, you know, pinch or grasp something rather tiny with great efficacy. The other thing is, as your fingernails get longer, they lose their rigidity. They lose their strength because they're, you know, the it's not cartilage, is it? Whatever that's called, it's getting stretched out. I mean, it's not stretching out, but it's getting further away. It's getting a little more wobbly. So you're not able to maintain that level unless you artificially reinforce them. But I mean, that's a whole mess on its own. And I don't think they were doing that in Dark Birth. I think those are all natural, and I just think they're impractical. And it's just, there's no reason for it. You can be bad, you can be wicked, and take care of yourself and have good hygienical practices. And I think we need to stop giving bad guys a pass. We need to stop giving cards like Dark Rebirth a pass. Oh, well, it's a Dark Rebirth. But well, then make it a totally blacked out card where there's no vision at all. That's dark. But the fact that you can see something and it's this gnarled, nasty hand over a skull or whatever the heck it is. I don't even know what it is because I never played the darn card because it's so freaking ugly. So all that to say, please, Bethesda, make Dark Rebirth a card that we can use. And I mean, that one's kind of okay. So it's saying dark, but I'm seeing a Jedi Force Ghost right now. That is a Jedi Force Ghost standing over his own corpse, going, "Whoa, whoa! I can help change the world. I can tell Luke to reach out with his feelings, and that's going to make him awesome." But I mean, that's just infinitely better than Palpatine. We almost have it's the exact opposite. Here we get a Force Ghost, and the other one we're getting a Palpatine. We're getting a robed, hooded figure with gnarly fingernails. Although Palpatine really didn't have gnarly fingernails. He had his whole hand was like painted this weird paint. I don't even know what it was, but I can't imagine.
Gotcha.
Ewan McKellen, is that his name? No, Ian McDermott. Ewan McDermott. Dang it, McDermott, Mr. McDermott. Those kinds of things. Now, granted, he probably only had the makeup until about here because he had those big old sleeves. But still, like when your hands, it's like you can't touch anything. It's ugh. But you know what I mean. He had that stuff. Hey, but the bottom line, folks, call out wickedness, but more importantly, call out wickedness for bad hygiene. It is interesting how those things pair up, though. Like I say, you can tell a lot about somebody by their hands or how they take care of themselves. I think wickedness, that there's a corruption in wickedness that manifests itself in poor hygiene and poor hand curation. I don't know. So Queen Barons, I actually like her effect in general. I like the visual. But I need, and I don't know how hard this would be to do, but you see how what's swirling around her staff, that energy, it's not really changing. It looks like it's static. I mean, it's twirling, but it's a static object. The tendrils aren't, it's not, it should be pulsating and fluxing as it spins around, like water. When water turns, or water spinning, it's not uniform. It some parts are spinning a little bit faster, some parts are, the ripples are more distinct. I would have sprung for a premium Queen Baron Zaya if that energy surrounding actually was moving and pulsating. But it really just it would be like taking a wheel and just spinning it around. It doesn't really give the feeling that it's that it's active energy, untamed and wild and free. It looks like a very basic animation. And again, I couldn't do any better, but I know from some of the other stuff they've done that they could have given it a little bit more. Because she is a very useful and often seen card, especially in like Dagoth decks and obviously in Telvanni, because you really can't ignore the queen. She is a problem to deal with, especially if you're trying to race. Now, for Olmors, who, when I said problem to deal with, what I meant was, you know, if you leave a charmed life, don't tell me you got to finish off for him. It does not. Okay, so Rick is going to be able to drain a little bit, not as much as with the queen, but he is going to. But like, you can't leave her alone. Olmors has gone on the aggressive, has taken that role in this game, which is fine. Somebody has to, in theory, unless you just want to stare at each other for 16 hours. But once you go on the aggressive, then you don't want to see your opponent pull out drain because you've already said, I want to try to close this game out as soon as possible. So Queen, Baron's Eye, needs to be addressed. But even if you play her and you don't need the health, that's a 6/3 body for 3 or 4. 4, okay. Still, 4 costs, it does 6 damage. You got to address her. Otherwise, she's going to hit you hard in the face with her staff and its non-undulating, moving, warpy thing. You know, I don't know why, but yesterday I had a sudden urge to watch a Simon Pegg movie. I wanted to watch, what's the one? It's not the cop one. Oh, maybe it was the cop one, actually. Yeah, it was the cop one. Fuzz. Hot Fuzz. I had the desire to watch Hot Fuzz, and I don't know why. No, I'm not going to watch The Last of Us. That's what it sounded like you said, right? Watch The Last of Us. No sure, no sure. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that exactly. Any of that, really. But Rick's doing all right. Olmors hasn't been able to close it out. He's running low on cards. Rick has recovered somewhat. He's got Lyneth in hand, so he can pull whatever the heck he wants. Hey, this guy was such a blessing. Like, he was cool. I like the concept of him so much, but he made the spider insufferable. And I know there are some folks that just, you can't get enough Spooter. But me, those little turd muffins, they appeared often enough without being resurrected. Like, I don't want to see more than 3 Spooters in a game, but thanks to this, you can see as many as 6. If not more, you can actually resurrect them, or reanimate them. You could soul tear them. So you could see 12. 12. That's ridiculous. Died in an ice storm. This Gray Fox probably going to get the axe from the Leaf Lurker. And yeah, so I mean, Alfie Conjurer, not a card Deckard wants to see necessarily, but why did she get... How'd you get a guard? Oh, watch do. Oh, gotcha. That's right. It affects the cards as you draw them. Oh no, this is not good. This is not good.
The forest is my cloak.
Interesting. And I guess that was like, okay, all right, there you go. Rick's going to be able to get rid of.
Beware my power.
Be what your power? All right, what are you going to pull, Rick? I always get nervous about this kind of thing because it's like, man, there's... this is... Okay, Siege? Yeah. I did not realize this was a singleton, so that is obviously... Which takes away my point. I was going to say, it always makes me nervous because, now I have the chance to pull exactly what I need, so it's not RNG. I just need to pull what I need. And it's like, people will be looking, why didn't you go for Lightning Bolt? Why didn't you go for this card? Why didn't you go for Drain? It's like, I gotta pull the right card. I don't want to do the wrong thing when I've got the game well in hand if I just do it the right way.
I will return.
Must I do everything myself?
Oh, cat's paw, you. It sounds like she should be cute, right? Oh, she's a little cat's paw. Oh, she's a little cat's paw. Nope. Am I saying that right? I'm afraid that That's why, yeah, okay. Okay, I'm kind of surprised we didn't see Siege there, but Hannibal? Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense too. And just like that, Rick has turned the tables. And armed with that Siege, he knows that he's got a way to really pour it on whenever he so chooses. And now he's bought himself some time. And I think he's decided he's going to just go on the offensive, which is a really smart play. It can be hard, as I can attest, as people can tell. It can be difficult to change gears, to have that confidence. So there we go. No more spooters. No more necromancers. They have been buried with great finality and authority.
Nice try. Care to go again?
Must I do everything
So
myself?
here's the thing. He can do 11. So that ultimate heist is not going to be able to finish it off. He needs to be able to do more than 11. So I'm guessing we're going to see Siege this turn. Because the opponent's building up a bit of a board. You don't want him to... Oof, that's tempting as well. I mean, yeah, you could just clear off everything with fingers and throw it on Hannibal at the same time. So, oh no, can't do Hannibal in that one as well. So that's going to be interesting. I think he needs... I think fingers is... I mean, that's a safe bet. But Rick says safety is for safe people. I'm not safe. I am Rick. Deckard. The daring to use alliteration. Now he's giving it some thought. Okay. I mean, Siege or Fingers, either one seems like they'd be choice at this point. You leave a little Ungolem on the board, but you get to wipe out everything else, which means your opponent really has to worry about what you're going to do. But you could also argue that filling the board, throwing down Siege would be the best way to go. But clearly, really thinking this through. I mean, we are in the final end game here, where every play is really going to matter. I don't know how much he's... Okay, there he goes. Oh, interesting. Left her alive. Is he going to Dark Rebirth Lyneth? That'd be pretty dope. Doesn't look like it. All right, so Rick may be having some technical difficulties there. I really thought he was going to get rid of what's her name. Why you would leave Ungolem on there, or take away Ungolem 1/1 when? Yeah, I think he may be taken away from the game, or there may be some connection issue there. I don't know that he necessarily wanted to do that.
Khajiit will keep you.
But hopefully that doesn't cost him the game. Hopefully he can still pull this off. I don't know if he can. If he can't, if he's getting a 7-5, then Rick is definitely in trouble, because he's going to be down to 10 with 14 on the board. No, okay, he's not. But still, he's down to 10 with 15 on the board, 14 on the board. Or he could just leave it like that and attack him next turn. But no, it looks like...
draw power from their
Yeah, this is dangerous territory for Rick. I think that last... Oh, and he draws forces. That may be it, man. Wow. Wow. See, that's supposed to be the action that Siege draws. I'm guessing, right? I mean, that's the one you'd want it to be. Or the ultimate heist. Oh, yeah. Boy, howdy. So right now he's going to be taking 1. He's going to be taking 9.
The dark stain of necromancy from Tamriel.
Oof. Dark Rebirth her, maybe? Okay, so he's only going to get that 1. Well, I think he had to, actually, because otherwise he would have been able to do 3 damage, which is dead. So now he can only do the 1. Boy. And there it is. There it is. Okay, now a little bit of showboating from Ulmore's. Could have just taken away the guard here, but clearly he had something else for that.
You will feed my clan.
Do not take
Well,
you.
I guess not choke. I mean, it's one way to go about lethal. Pretty much this exact same amount of plays, but unfortunately, Rick, as I said, I think that one play, taking out Ungolem instead of the Leaf Lurker was a detriment there. But we all make misplays. Some of them have consequence, some of them do not. But this is going to be our last game, I believe. Finish things off with Eros,
Chimeric spirit of the sky, guide us.
who seems to be in a pretty good place against Milius. So maybe we'll do one more game, because this one looks like it's going to be over in the next 2 turns. I mean, that said, when you've got this guy on the board and you've got 2 Thieves' Dens, Eros is gonna take some damage. That's probably why he didn't continue to hit. I mean, it's good policy in general. Don't break that last. Ooh boy, howdy, being able to hit. Ooh boy. All right, so we've got a game, folks. We've got a game. He is. Oh my gosh, this just really got ugly for Eros. Oh boy. I mean, luckily Eros had a ton of health,
Khajiit smells raw meat.
but now the shoe is on the other foot, and oh boy. Oh my gosh.
You will not defeat.
Fear my wrath.
Wow.
Khajiit doesn't need to be followed.
Oh my gosh. You heard me saying, when you've got this card and 2 of those on the board, that's
The Mage's Guild gave this one a home.
ridiculous. And that is a chappy thing. With Pilfer in particular, you can literally have almost no board, but as long as you can get this doofus down, you can just turn the things over so quick. Now, granted, I mean, again, you have to have the pieces in place. I'm not saying it's easy or that it's too easy, but there are very few decks that aren't broken
Chimeric spirit of the sky, guide us.
that can do that kind of damage that quickly. Movement's another one where you can have very few pieces on the board. And what makes that frustrating is your opponent can only play against what they can interact with. And so when you're able to do that kind of damage or be able to make your board that formidable with really very little interaction or risk of interaction or risk of defense or failure, that's where you just go, man. So that's what Eros is up against. Unfortunately, he just has no way to address the big old 9/11 body that is going to be able to hit twice. I'm sure Eros has some. I mean, that does work. I mean, this would be, if Eros could pull this off, it would be standing round of ovation.
You anger.
He probably has Swift Strike. Oh no, he's got 2, doesn't he? No, he doesn't. Right.
Khajiit must stay out of sight. They won't miss.
And there you go. Exact lethal for Milius. I want something else to get me through this semi-charmed kind of life, baby. All right. So that game ended up being a little more spiced than we thought. I'm going to go ahead and call it there. Thank you all for playing today. Eros, Thiago, Arpad, all the good folks. Oh, goodness gracious. Racus. Thank you all again very much for playing. Thank you all for watching. It is a pleasure to be able to bring these games to you. Hopefully you've enjoyed them. And until next time, keep on playing. I don't like that. I like it better as just keep playing. Yeah. Forget I said that. Don't keep on playing. Just keep playing.